I thought about, does the NFL deserve to be called out for this? Because I think it's funny. It's not that big of a deal, but it's, we could have some fun with this. Because the things that they will admit to, and then the things that they won't, just, I laugh at it. The most recent one involves Taylor Swift and this week's biggest game of the NFL season. 9-0 Kansas City, 8-2 Buffalo. In Buffalo. Now, let me preface this by telling you the numbers here, Chad. Okay? So, they have the ratings and advertising boom. The NFL always wins. But the Buffalo game crushes whenever they face the Chiefs. 55 million is who tuned in for the AFC Championship. Last year's divisional round on CBS, 50 million tuned in to watch that. They average 25 million for just the Chiefs alone when they're on TV. They're hoping on CBS for 30 million this coming Sunday in the primetime slot for CBS, that 4:30 Eastern kickoff time. So the CBS, this is their biggest request as a NFL partner. Everybody wants Chiefs and Bills, but CBS has had this game going on. This will be the fourth consecutive year they've had it. This is the one they want. And they want it so bad. They are treating this like a playoff game. They are taking the NFL today on the road live at Highmark Stadium. Okay? Advertising. 30 seconds of advertising will cost you, and it's sold out, $975,000 per 30 seconds for this game. And Taylor Swift's going to be there. And they're making it easy on her. She's performing. She's got a concert in Toronto. And she's going to be able to make the game. Now, she made the Super Bowl. She was in Tokyo and made it to Vegas. Like, she can make it anywhere she wants. This will be the sixth game she's attended. And Mike North, who's the vice president of broadcasting and planning for the NFL, claims that they didn't do this on purpose. There's no way that they didn't set this up. He said that they considered 26,000 roughly factors. But this week, Buffalo and the fact that Taylor Swift could make it from Toronto to Buffalo easily was not one of the 26,000 factors that go into an NFL schedule slate for 256 games. They can't straight up say that they did this on purpose, I believe, because then you also have teams like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Chad, will be playing Week 15 against the Eagles, Week 16 against the Ravens, and then Week 17 against the Chiefs. They play all of those in 10 days, and then they have a quick turnaround after Christmas on 4 days to play the Chiefs. So they don't want to favor one AFC team over the other, but they absolutely did this. And good for them, but I don't understand why they just don't say, if you're going to lie, you don't blatantly lie like this. Just don't tell the truth. Follow the Connor Stalions path, which is holding up the picture of him on the Central Michigan sideline saying, I don't think this looks anything like me, and kind of smirking at the camera. Meanwhile, the NFL is following the path of Jim Harbaugh, which is lying about the recruiting deal where they claimed it was over a hamburger. It was more than that. They got suspended. There's a show cause involved with it for one of his assistants. All I'm saying, do the path of Connor Stalions, not the way of Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And if you do that, I'll respect him a bit more. I do think it's funny. Taylor Swift is all the rage, huge ratings. It has brought in a ton of women from a demographic they weren't hitting that well, 13 to 59. They're crushing it now, and they'll continue to do it Sunday. And, CBS is going to win. And so will the NFL. And you have teams like the Steelers who will be, take what we're giving you and have at it down the backstretch of the season. They haven't even played a divisional game yet. They're about to.
I wish the NFL could just, wink when asked the question.
The fact that he's just like, we didn't consider this.
Isn't that something that worked out that way? And kind of just smile and wink when asked the question, right? Oh, that's great. What a great coincidence that Taylor happens to be this close when they're playing that game in Buffalo.
And they sell the Chiefs to anyone that's going to pay big bucks. Peacock, exclusive playoff game, Kansas City Chiefs. Amazon Black Friday game, Kansas City Chiefs. Christmas Day, that will be Kansas City against Pittsburgh. This, for CBS, is their thank you from the NFL every year. Nance and Romo sending the whole crew there, but Taylor Swift's concert had nothing to do with the schedule. It happens to be in Week 11 on the road in Buffalo. Had nothing to do with the fact that, well, she's played a lot of other NFL stadiums, made their ownership a lot of money, made the cities that are affiliated with the NFL a lot of money in these stadiums, but they didn't consider the tour this go-around for the biggest game of the year.
Well, we also need, on the Taylor Swift front, we need Haley Steinfeld, who is not Taylor Swift famous, but famous actress-singer. That's with Josh Allen. We need them together, like her and her Josh Allen jersey, and then Taylor, in the Travis Kelce jersey, next to each other in the suite. That could only add to the rivalry to see them hanging out during the game. So I kind of hope that's the next step in all of this.
I just think, come on. Of course.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Kelce, huge 400% increase in jersey sales.
There's very few mistakes.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I wouldn't even say mistakes. There's very few coincidences when you're talking about the NFL. And I don't think this is one of them either with this schedule.
100% of their markets. This is their only late afternoon game. And it happens to be in Week 11, Chad.
And
they worked out the weather's not going to play a factor.
And it's still like the shine hasn't even worn off on the Taylor Swift thing.
I don't know.
Like when she's at a game, I think it's a big deal to people that love Taylor Swift still.
Yeah.
It's not as big a deal to me because we've seen them pan to her so much.
It's very normal now. You're right.
But it's a factor.
And it's not that long ago, they panned and she's up in the suite against the Chicago Bears. It's 41-10.
Right.
And we're off and running.
And, my point is, it's not like the NFL would come back and say, it's not. She's at every game. Who cares? Nobody even cares. No, they care. I still think people care. I still think it matters. But,
Goodell will admit this week that the NFL is looking to have 16 regular season games international every year. So every team will play an international game, which is what we've discussed at length. But they won't admit this, which is international for them. Oh, well.
Just admit it.
I mean, it's just funny.
Are people going to get mad if they even just alluded to it not being a coincidence?
Well, the teams will, because the schedule makers are placating to this, but then you have the Steelers who are getting screwed in the final 2 months of the season. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But is there a specific thing that just these two teams would be mad about where this game fell on the schedule?
No, I don't think so.
Then who cares?
Well, I mean, there was some debate about whether or not it would be in Week 1. Instead, that went to Baltimore. You see, Week 11, the only people that matter, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Well, there's your answer as to why they don't
and all the advertisers.
There's your answer as to why they'll never admit it, because they're afraid to upset the other teams.
Yeah, that's it. Are you going to be upset if Deion Sanders jumps ship and goes to the NFL after he said he didn't want anything to do with the NFL? Because I've been thinking, I'm kind of here for it. I sometimes love the drama he brings, and other times I'm irritated by it. But right now, I'm back in on it with the drama of him and Shador.
But I'm 100% rooting for it to happen.
I think what ESPN is stirring up, though, is not going to happen. Dallas. And it's the perfect storm for them because they talk Dallas Cowboys every single day. It works. And they love talking Deion Sanders in primetime. They could get both. And I think we'll get more of the manufactured Deion to Dallas, when I really think it's more Deion possibly to Las Vegas, or at least Shador to Las Vegas.
Well, they need to get ready to talk Raiders and Cowboys on equal playing fields, because that's going to be the talk, because I think Deion is going to the Raiders and Shador is going to play for him. But here's the thing about Deion Sanders. Whether you love him or hate him or you're indifferent, he's a draw. He's a show. Yep. And that show is going to run out at Colorado. I really think. And look, Colorado has surprised the hell out of me this season with how good they've been. I really think, though, that this is probably their ceiling we're witnessing this year.
I mean,
unless you think that he's going to recruit another five-star quarterback that's not his son, and another Travis Hunter type is going to come to Colorado, then maybe they keep it rolling. But whatever they finish at this year, let's say it's 10-2 and Big 12 championship or Big 12 championship game or Big 12 champion in the playoff. That's as good as Deion Sanders is ever going to do at Colorado. So why not bolt after 2 years when your son and someone that you treated as a son, and Travis Hunter, are both going to the NFL.
Chad, 4 days ago, SI reported that the Colorado Buffaloes are making headlines close to flipping USC commit 5-star quarterback Juju Lewis. That he's made several visits to Boulder, 4 that they know of within the past year, suggesting strong interest in Deion. So that, I mean, if he comes back and coaches at Colorado, he's coaching this guy. But again, 5-star is 5-star.
Yeah.
But as of right now, he's still the USC commit.
Right. And not every 5-star works out. I mean, that's got to be a good development. Malachi Nelson's a good example who can't start at Boise State after not being able to start at USC.
But the question of, can he land a 5-star quarterback? Yes. If he flips it.
I have a real hard time thinking, though, it's going to get better from here when he doesn't have Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
I want to see where it ends up this season.
That's why I want to see him in the NFL, though, is my point. Like, I don't know.
I just think.
I don't know how much more drama he's going to cause in college, especially when he's not coaching his son. And I'm looking at this from a sheer entertainment value. I'm not doubting him or saying, oh, they're going to go in the tank forever after this year. I don't think that.
Right.
I just think if you're realistically looking at this year 2, which wouldn't be the case for most coaches, this year 2 may be the ceiling for him at Colorado.
The fact he's done it, I don't know where the ceiling is in college football for him, though. Colorado. And right now, again, let's wait and see what he does with the Big 12. Because if they go on a run and win out, they're getting the playoff. They're going to bye.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts, considering where they were back in September.
Could have a bye as long as they jump Boise State or whoever's in that spot.
Yeah, but I think they would.
I would think so. Depending on who they beat in that Big 12 championship game, but it's a strong chance that would happen with that extra
Unless
game.
Unless ESPN wants them in the playoff for the extra game and just host it at number 5. I think they have a lot of control on it.
Here's what I'm saying. This is selfish about what I want to see for interest in Deion. Just a change. Could be Florida. Could be some other big-time job in college football. Could be the Vegas Raiders. Could be the Dallas Cowboys. I want to see now, and that sounds crazy, and I'm not wishing ill upon Colorado fans or anything like that. It just feels like this is the ceiling we're witnessing this year. And now he should go to the NFL if he has that opportunity.
Man,
I really can see.
The whole trajectory is crazy.
The vision is clear to me on he's going to coach Shedeur for the Raiders. I keep thinking about that now, and that's going to be what ends up happening.
I was just following the whole social media post from Shedeur.
Yeah.
And, he was asked about this on a recent podcast. I believe it was Michael Irvin who asked him, and he kind of joked about it. And he said, you know what I've got? You know what I'm looking at? And he turns around, he's got the whole facility behind him with the practice facility, with the practice fields at Colorado. And he's joking around, laughing about it. But he didn't just flippantly say no, So
about looking at the Raiders?
No, about leaving. But he joked around with Michael Irvin, and they just kind of kept laughing. And he was more asking about Dallas.
I was on a local radio show in Nashville today, and I brought up what you've brought up about his post when the Raiders lose.
Yeah,
which not many people are mentioning. The host I was on was like, "Really? That's happening?" I'm like, "Yep, that's happening."
This past week, he was signing a cleat or a shoe, and he said something like, "Go Raiders" or something like that on the video. That was just a cell phone video of him signing something. Again, he'll go where Deion and where Shedeur wants to go. This is the next saga. It was the summer of LeBron. Now we're going to have the spring of Deion, spring of prime.
Wouldn't that be fun to follow, though? Whatever he does with the Raiders.
Yeah, Brady.
And the maneuvering, if they don't have the number 1 pick, to move up to get Shedeur.
I believe they just brought in Norv Turner, didn't they? Norv Turner was Deion's coach in Washington.
Yep.
So there's another connect. Again, there will be a lot of dots that we can connect a lot of stuff with Dallas, too, or the Falcons. Again, there's ways to do it. But, yes.
He's got a good relationship with Brady,
Shedeur
too,
Sanders
right?
tweeting, "Thank you, God," after every Raiders loss, and you can see the timestamps here. And, yeah, there's an NIL connection with Tom Brady, where Brady has part ownership of one of the companies.
I just feel like this isn't being discussed enough. I think we should really hammer this point home.
Yeah.
More often, because you're the only person I've ever heard bring this up, Hut. So good on you.
It's straight to Vegas. Prime time in Vegas.
It feels like a natural pairing. If any organization would take the chance on Deion Sanders and coaching his own son in the NFL, it would be the Raiders.
Think about that. You've got who all passed on him legitimately? Mississippi State, Arkansas,
Florida State.
You've got these programs that didn't really look his way. 2 years later, he's in the NFL after Colorado's gig.
Well, remember when Florida State was open?
Yeah.
I think it was Florida State. Georgia Tech was
Tech.
another one that, they just brought on the interim Brent Key.
Brent Key, yeah.
So, but that was one, I remember the time I was saying that's a natural fit.
Yeah, for Atlanta?
For him.
Yeah,
in the city of Atlanta, that would have been amazing
I remember him getting kind of pissed off at Florida State.
I would say better even than Colorado.
With how they handled all that.
Well, at the time when the first reports came out that, what about bringing back? I think he was still maybe in high school at the time, and right before he went to Jackson State.
Shedeur?
Well, no, Shedeur was definitely in high school. But
you're talking about Travis Hunter.
No, I'm talking about Deion.
In
Deion was still coaching like the high school ranks.
Oh, okay, coaching his kids.
His kids, yeah. Then he got the Jackson State job. But remember when the Florida State rumors first popped?
Yes.
It sounded insane because he had only coached in high school or coached his kids' youth organization or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then he got the Jackson State job shortly after that, now Colorado. But looking back, I'm like, well, I guess it wasn't that crazy.
He was asked, this was a while back, but he said he doesn't consider himself a Seminole. But I think it trends off of that.
Yeah.
But he may do it now. This was a while back. But
and we've seen,
something that stuck with me.
There's examples in basketball for sure. J.J. Redick going from player to analyst on television to head coach. We've seen other guys. Steve Kerr, went from player, TV analyst to GM to coach. So there are non-traditional paths to take. Jeff Saturday on the opposite end. Hutton, if you remember, Jason Witten wanted to go from Monday Night Football booth to Tennessee head coach.
Yes, that's right.
He was petitioning behind the scenes.
Oh, that's right.
Of here's what my staff would look like. And I think now he's coaching his son in Texas.
And winning.
Yeah, well, he's got a son who's got I know he's like a freshman, but he's already got an offer from Tennessee. That's a linebacker in Texas.
Chad, college football-wise, this weekend, it seems very top-heavy, but we've seen this before, this regular season. What are you buying and what are you selling?
So don't let a boring weekend on paper fool you in college football. So let's go back in the time machine here. Let's go back to week 6 of this season. That was October 5th weekend. I remember coming here on a Friday at this spot right here on this desk, on this very show, and telling you, man, I had a miserable time picking the top 10 games this week. This is not a great week.
You said you got to like 6.
Of college football. I got to 6 and then had to really search after that, maybe 7, and had to search for those final 3. I had the same thing this week where I'm like, I think I listed right at 10, but no more. There are weeks where I'll jot down initially 17 games and have to decide between those because it's such a good weekend of college football. The last time I felt the way I do about this week, and we'll get to my top 10 games later, was back in week 6, October 5th.
Okay.
So what happened week 6, October 5th? Everything looked boring on paper. Felt like it wasn't a big marquee weekend. And all that happened was number 1 Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Number 4 Tennessee lost at Arkansas. Number 9 Missouri got spanked in College Station against A&M. This kind of sounds funny now, but Michigan was 10th in the country back on October 5th. They lost. USC, also sounding funny now, they were 11th in the country. They lost to Minnesota that week. I say all that to preface this weekend by giving you my gut feeling that madness is going to happen. I don't know if it's Virginia winning in South Bend as a 23.5-point underdog. I don't know if it's Arkansas maybe upsetting Texas. Whatever happens in the Tennessee-Georgia game, that's the marquee game, but it's number 7 versus number 12, so nothing would really surprise us with whoever wins that game necessarily. But something nuts is going to happen this weekend, Hutton, and call it a gut feeling, call it a flashback to week 6, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's just one thing. I think multiple chaos scenarios are going to take place this weekend.
So how difficult was it for you to come up with your 10 that we'll get later in the show this week?
It was not hard to come up with 10.
So
ordering them number 2 through 10 was virtually impossible.
Yeah. So,
and I'm going to give you a little preview of that to tell you how hard it was. My second best game of the week is the American Athletic Conference.
Wow.
This will be a controversial move.
Okay.
But I've got a game in the AAC as my second best game of the week.
Okay. And
that's how hard it was. It was tough to separate games 2 through 10.
And Tulane hasn't lost in the AAC in a while. So, I know where you're going with that. And it matters for the playoff.
It does.
Absolutely. But that wouldn't be the upset.
No.
The upsets would come down the list.
Yeah.
And they would be massive.
The upsets would be, first off, Kansas over BYU would not be a massive upset. They're only a 2.5-point underdog. But Wisconsin over Oregon.
Huge.
That's one I've got circled as watch out.
Texas.
Could be a big upset.
Texas. Go through the
Texas could lose, and they are playing for their lives against A&M.
Yep.
All of a sudden.
If Georgia loses, they're done.
I feel a lot better about Arkansas if it was at night in Fayetteville. I think 11 a.m. hurts them a bit with atmosphere for that game.
Yeah.
I think a night game in Fayetteville, I would be quicker to say Arkansas will win.
There's a few other 11
But I may
a.m.
just
games.
say they'll win anyways. Who knows?
Colorado game is 11 a.m., I believe.
Colorado,
Early.
Utah is 11 a.m.
Yeah. There's a couple of games at 11 or noon Eastern that are, had they been later in the day, maybe you bet a different way.
Yeah, the night game competition is Tennessee, Georgia, which will dwarf Oregon, Wisconsin. But Oregon, Wisconsin is a pretty good game, too. That's NBC at night.
Any update on Nico?
They will have the final injury report out later today, this afternoon. And he was questionable last night. Odds are he'll be questionable again, which means he's making the trip.
Yeah.
If he's not making the trip, he has to be listed as out. So they'll know. If he's not making the trip, they'll
want
know
him on
today.
the trip.
It won't be a Saturday, he didn't get on the plane.
They have to list it.
I'm guessing he'll be
So
questionable.
they have to tell them if he's on the bus.
I'm guessing he'll be questionable in a game time decision.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to stick by what I've consistently said all week. Get ready for Gaston Moore to be the starter for Tennessee.
Man,
that's what I'd prepare for.
Can you imagine if Tennessee wins against Georgia? Are they double digit right now?
9.5 at last check. May have moved again.
With Gaston Moore. And they end Georgia's playoff appearance.
Well, let me talk about this on the flip side. That would be, off,
what Georgia fans would be saying.
Gaston Moore would go down as a Tennessee legend forever with one game. If he went to Athens and beat Georgia as a backup quarterback.
He's pulling the Stetson Bennett.
He would be a campus legend forever. He would be right up there with that drunk frat boy who had to kick that one game against MTSU that Derek Dooley was there. They had to pull him off the couch at the frat house. That type of legendary status. Flip side of this. This is a chance for Kirby Smart to be Kirby Smart again.
Like he was in Texas.
If they win this game, they're in the playoff. It's happening. So they are right back, even with their struggles and Carson Beck throwing it to the other team repeatedly. They're going to be right back in the playoff, and it's a chance for Kirby Smart the year after his guy, his professor, Nick Saban, retired, to cement himself as, I'm Nick Saban. Once again, this is Kirby Smart with a chance to be Kirby Smart. He was that in Austin, Texas. He can be that at home tomorrow night and curb stomp Tennessee.
Yeah, slap them around.
And that is something that he has done.
Are you doubling the spread?
Here's a stat that I saw earlier today. In 3 games, Josh Heupel's averaged 12.2 points against Kirby Smart defenses. Jeremy Pruitt's teams averaged 15 per game against Georgia. So Jeremy Pruitt's offenses were better against Georgia than Josh Heupel's. There's one of the more surprising stats for you you're going to find.
That's insane. And that's just running the football, I guess, which is what they're going to do this week.
Well, it's Georgia just beating them. Is what it's been in the past. Now, this is a different game in that Tennessee can run and Georgia can't based on the season. And Tennessee needs to be able to run again.
Speaking of slapped around, and I think Tennessee's defense is going to play well. I don't trust Carson Beck. He's going to have to prove it. It's not about Kirby Smart. It's about Carson Beck, right? But
if the Georgia that shows up against Ole Miss shows up, Tennessee's going to win even if Gaston Moore's playing. I just don't think that's going to happen. Kirby Smart didn't get to the pinnacle of the sport by accident. This is where Kirby Smart goes Kirby Smart. And it's a chance for him to do it.
Chad, slapped around is what happened yesterday in the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson face-off at the weigh-ins. This is there's something up where, again, there's an entertainment factor here. This is a sanctioned fight down in Dallas. 60,000 are expected around that to go to Jerry's World for this fight later today. Live on Netflix, free on Netflix.
Did anyone else think that Mike Tyson was pantless when he came out, like completely? I mean, I saw a lot of, I saw like side right cheek
I mean,
Like, I saw side ass when he walked out with that robe he was wearing.
so I give.
Is it a thong that he's wearing? Like, what is that? I guess it's just the underwear.
Chastity belt.
Everlast underwear. When he first walked out, when I first saw this video, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But
We going nude? Is this like ancient Roman times?
So these guys
going to wrestle?
They have the way. Here's the guy who last fought legitimately against Kevin McBride in 2005.
Oh my gosh!
And
has it been that long?
Yes. So it's not. Here's the parameters of this. It's not a 12-round fight. It's not 3 minutes per round. It's an 8-round, 2-minute round fight. They're going to use 14-ounce gloves instead of the usual 10-ounce gloves. The reason for that is to have slower hands and to, cushion the punch a bit. With all that being said, Tyson is 31 years older than Jake Paul. And, I mean, a 27-year-old, think about the results here. Either a 27-year-old knocks out the old guy, or the old guy knocks out a YouTuber.
He goes dad strength on him.
Or it's the old guy knocks out a YouTuber. But the money is insane. I don't get the whole financials of this. Jake Paul claims he's going to make $40 million, and Tyson will make around 20. He will double his net worth off of this fight.
Well,
that's what the reports say.
Tyson looks really good. First off, for a 58-year-old man,
yeah,
he looks terrific. So he's in great shape. I don't know what to make of Jake Paul. I admittedly have not done a lot of research into his fighting history. I know that
he's 10-1.
He's a YouTuber turned fighter, right? And he's done pretty well with it. But yeah, 27-year-old versus 58-year-old, pretty easy to go ahead and say. What is it? Minus 250, I think, is what Jake Paul is to win.
And so this fight was supposed to be back in the summer, and he had some medical issue, so he had to bow out of that. Now they're doing it here again. It is sanctioned. Apparently, Tyson wanted it sanctioned, not Paul. But again, it's there's people saying that it's staged. Like it's fixed, which is a federal crime. But there were reports too, Chad, of early when this bout was made, that there were things in the contract that would allow Tyson, if he wanted to make more money, he would make more money as the rounds continued. The longer the fight went, the more money he would get of the purse. It's expected that they can make around $15 million off the gate. That would be the largest gate outside of Las Vegas in the United States for boxing history. And they're going to be in front of an audience of Netflix that has 232 million subscribers worldwide. And this is Netflix's, again, they're building this platform to sell advertising in their live sports. That's the next step, and they're targeting young men with this and with the NFL and specifically with the live sports aspect of it. Will it pay off? I mean, I'm here for the whole entertainment value of it, but it's not like I think this thing is like on the up and up completely. There's no way. I will say that I'm not getting in the ring with Mike Tyson at any point.
No.
But do I think that Tyson could go in and knock him out? Yes. Like Iron Mike Tyson can. Do I think maybe he's incentivized to not do that? Sure.
It takes one, little slipped punch in the right spot, and Mike Tyson wins this bout. This is fresh on my mind because I saw Clay Travis, our fearless leader, was at Mar-a-Lago last night taking a photo with Sly Stallone, which I'm very jealous of Clay.
Elon.
I texted him and said, and I don't even care about Elon, but the fact that he met Rocky Balboa and John J. Rambo really upsets me because I'm very jealous of Clay for having a chance to be with him. Quite a bit taller than Rocky. But I'm thinking about Sylvester Stallone because of Clay. The plot for the movie Rocky Balboa was insane, and he was 60 years old fighting someone in his late 20s.
Yeah.
2 years different than Mike Tyson fighting a 27-year-old. In that movie, Rocky Balboa, Rocky was 60 years old in the movie and fighting Mason Dixon Line. Mason the Line Dixon was the character's name.
Okay.
Antonio Tarver.
Mason Dixon.
Antonio Tarver. Mason the Line was his nickname. Mason the Line Dixon. And it was a 60-year-old fighting someone in the late 20s. So maybe not that far-fetched.
So do you buy that the thing is on the up and up, this fight?
It better be.
I mean,
I can bet on it, so it better be.
well, some states will not allow you to bet on it. Some commissions took it off.
Well, if it's
New York,
not on,
you cannot bet this fight in New York.
if it's not on the up and up, then they've got a bigger
Colorado
problem.
removed it, for instance.
They got a bigger problem on their hands. I hope it's on the up and up. Now, Netflix, have they already secured the rights to WWE?
Yes.
To what is it?
Monday Night Raw? Yep.
And when is that starting? In 2025?
January of next year, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I just think about the fix being in, and
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thinking,
very-
boy, it would be convenient
Well,
for a company that's made its name on fictional entertainment that just secured the rights to WWE is now suddenly in the professional boxing game.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's easy to
professional.
connect the dots
Yeah.
and say, oh, maybe this is
They're
a
in the
little wonky.
entertainment game, right? Like,
Well, which makes you think even
professionals-
more.
I know. Yeah, you're right. You're
that
right.
It's
well,
fixed.
here's a very WWE aspect of yesterday: the slap. So you have a legit card, and then the slap is very reminiscent of what happened with Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes. If you go back to that, and there's a lot of comparisons with that too. There, you were comparing this.
I love how Jake Paul, by the way, took like an immediate posture with it,
Yep.
and didn't even move his face.
He was ready.
But he didn't even put his hands up. He just like shifted his feet to where he wasn't going to fall, and he barely moved on the slap.
It's like he knew it was coming.
That's the best. Like if you could teach a class on how to take a slap,
That
Jake Paul should teach that class.
Yeah,
That was a hell of a job.
Or his brother could
He
do it.
spread his base out a little bit, didn't stagger, face didn't even move, no whiplash, and just stood there and stared and didn't even look frightened by putting his hands up in a defense posture. He just stood there flexing after the slap. That was a masterclass.
You know what we would-
If that wasn't fake, that was a hell of a reaction by him. That right there to me looks fake.
Absolutely.
The way he responded to it looked like a guy who absolutely knew he was about to get slapped
no
when he
doubt.
got up off the
No
ground.
doubt. No doubt. So also the part that's not fake is Tyson's reaction and answer in at a recent interview, pumping up this fight with a child reporter. My guess is Rocky Balboa wouldn't answer this question about legacy and immediately think of death.
Well, in your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Man, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? With a big ego, so I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead.
How's a girl going to
We're
recover
dust.
from this?
Watch this.
We're absolutely nothing.
He cranks it up a notch too.
Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something
Just
that
wait.
I have not heard before, someone say that as an answer.
Can you really imagine somebody say, I want my legacy to be this way when you're dead? Why do you want somebody
True.
you think somebody really wants to think about you? What's the audacity? I think, I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the fuck cares about me when I'm gone? Well, my kids, maybe my grandkids. Who the
true.
fuck cares?
And again, thank you so much for sharing that.
I mean, well done by her.
Can we book this girl on the show,
Yeah.
please? She seems terrific.
Also,
what an answer.
If there were clauses in the contract to not knock out Jake Paul, how do you keep that guy from remembering that in the ring? Who knows?
That was spectacular.
Yes.
What if she started her next question with a follow-up with, as a convicted rapist, what are your thoughts on the Me Too movement? Time's
Yeah.
up.
How about your legacy when you were alive?
Yeah.
Instead of your legacy.
Are you fearful that
after death.
Are you fearful your legacy will be convicted rapist Mike Tyson?
Yeah, he's
or
not.
Boxer Mike Tyson.
Made over
I would
reported
have loved to
300 million
heard
and lost it.
that question from that girl after that.
It's gonna make 20 million though, Chad.
Well, I've never heard anybody answer that question that way, so I appreciate it. She really was on her toes pretty well.
She did well.
And bounced back from it because that's a stunning answer.